welcome, moms. It's so nice to have all of you here. I love that we get to have this time together on Fridays. And we had a little bit of a conversation yesterday. We did a scripture conference discussion yesterday. And any of you, if you're interested, are welcome to join that. But I'm not sure what day we're going to have it. It won't always be on Thursdays. But we were chatting about how this is not a normal thing for most of us to join a group of people we don't even know and then commit regularly to be part of the conversation, and yet here we are, and we show up every Friday because it's something that we want to do, something that maybe we feel like we're supposed to do. So I think that's super interesting. So I would love to know if you have any thoughts to start out today, because sometimes some of us have had something rolling around in our heads that we need to share. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes. Yes, or plan vacations with complete strangers. Lindsay put in the chat, Lindsay Watkins. The two Lindsays are planning on getting together soon. So I love that. I think that's awesome. One in Tennessee, one in California. They'll figure it out. So any thoughts this morning, mamas?
I have something I wanted to share about.
Good.
I didn't want to seem too eager, but I'm ready to go. So sorry. I have been reading this book about Albert Schweitzer, this is the landmark book about him.
Oh yeah.
And it was just an amazing read. And I just couldn't put it down. And so I wrote all these things down, but he was just an amazing person. And I'm really glad I didn't read the reviews on Goodreads before I read this book, because we'll get to that. But I just felt so inspired by his life. And let me read something really quick that the author wrote about him. The story of Albert Schweitzer is an inspiring example of what a man can achieve when he maintains the ideals of his early youth throughout his life. So he had this thing where he believed that ages 9 to 14 were like these crucial years, and these were when we formed our ideals in life. And he would always say, stand by those ideals and never forsake them just because one had to be realistic when one grew up. And then he said, so he really believed that you couldn't just believe something and then not do it. Like he had this concept of reverence for life, that your religious beliefs must be proved by action. And I don't know if you're all familiar with what he did, but he went to Africa and was a doctor there, and did amazing things. I can't even summarize the whole book. It was just so amazing. But the question I came away with from it was, what were my ideals of my early childhood? That was the question that came to my mind. And I've been pondering this, and I still don't have all the answers, but it's amazing the little things that have come to my mind about this. And it having to do with finding a well-educated heart and mothers of influence, and all these little things from my childhood are like lining up, and it's just so beautiful and powerful. So that was the one thing I wanted to share. Like, what were the ideals of your early youth? Those beautiful ideals.
I love that. Now, have you had any answers to that? I mean, I know you said you're still kind of working on that, but I'd love to know maybe just one of those ideas that you realized.
Well, sure. They're not. Anyway, I'll just share what they are. I don't feel like they're these grand things, but
they don't have to be, do they?
Yeah, no, they don't.
Things, right?
Yes, I remember I had a lot of time to think when I was a teenager. I homeschooled, and so I had a lot of extra time to do things, and I didn't do a lot of extracurriculars and had a lot of time to think, which now looking back, I'm like, that was so ideal. That was so good.
Yeah.
But I didn't appreciate it at the time. I loved stories of like pioneers or settlers or people who had to survive in a situation, you read Hatchet or
Mhm.
Island of the Blue Dolphins, and I always thought, oh, I could totally survive if I were out on my own or something. I don't know what I was thinking, but it was exciting to read things like Robinson Crusoe and think, oh, that'd be so cool, and to imagine it. I was attracted to beautiful art, very much like what is in here. Um, uh, Soundtracks of music, just gorgeous stuff that really appealed to me. Loved reading, really loved reading. Sewing and crochet and handicrafts and things that were just, oh, I just thought it'd be so cool if I could make my own clothes. And I don't know, so I don't know where this is going, but these are things that were so fascinating to me at that time. And when I went to college, I tried to keep that with me. I would crochet doilies at college. Okay, I was kind of weird, and so
Love that.
and I don't have time for that anymore. But those were just amazing things to me, and I don't know where I'm being led to with all of that. I just know that I love it, and it was placed in me at an early age, and I'm still trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do with it besides have a wonderful home and teach my children, but
Right, right. No, but you had a love and appreciation for beautiful things
yes.
from the time you were young. So I think that's an interesting thing to think about, and wonder about. Okay, so how does that come into play now? Does that help you to create a beautiful, soft, warm, inviting home environment? Will you do something more with about something creative or beautiful or something, as you progress through your life? Will that be a kind of a side hobby? Because if you're teaching your children in this well-educated heart way, once you're not dealing with teeny tiny ones, you will have time. You'll have time to be modeling these kinds of hobbies and things for your kids. So I love that too. What else, moms? What other thoughts do you have about what Cadence just shared?
Well, I feel like what she described also was my childhood. I wasn't homeschooled, but everything you described was just not busyness. It was time to just sit back and enjoy the things that were around you, things that you were creating and things that had been created. Where now I feel like we're in a world where it's like, if you're not enrolled in 900 sporting activities and you don't have 10 appointments per day for your children to attend, I feel like you're missing out on all of these things. And I think that's what Well Educated Heart has put back into mind, because my childhood was the same. It was, we spent all day outside with our cousins, just riding bikes up and down the road, and just being, not doing necessarily what the world wanted us to do. We were just living our life, and I love that she listed all those things that she just loved, because I think that's what we're trying to bring back with Well Educated Heart, is the beautiful art, the music, just being out in nature and seeing what God has already created. He doesn't need us to mess it up. He already put us here in this beautiful world. He doesn't need us to keep trying to recreate it for him. We just are supposed to expose our kids and ourselves to that, so we can really enjoy and learn from what he put here, because there is so much to learn even from nature. You just watch what nature does. It's just impeccable how much thought and just detail is in every little thing. And I love that she had so much time to think as a kid. And I think, and I know we're not supposed to be doing a lot of homeschool talk, but I did pull my kids out because there was such a stress level. And when I pulled them out, I'm like, you're 9 and 7. You shouldn't have this stress level of an adult. You should be enjoying this time. And I have noticed that with my children has really just dissipated, because they're just not in that hurry. They're not in you have to learn this way. And for me, I have now learned and am learning, and I feel like this has been a huge answer to prayers of just, I don't need to be like, are they learning this by this age? Are they learning this? It's for me, because I have been learning. I'm thinking, I'm almost 40 years old. And how did I not know that? How did I not know about this or about this? I'm thinking, well, why do I expect my 10-year-old to know that? You know, and it's just enjoying what God has given us and just relaxing. So thanks,
I
Kate,
love that.
for saying this. We were talking yesterday, Lori, and we're like, what is the topic? And Cadence just comes in with all the ideas. We love you.
Yes, yes. And when you leave Cadence, we're always like, oh, like last week, someone was like, oh, I was going to say something to her. You know, I was good. And I can't remember who that was, but hopefully somebody will remember. But yeah, we always hate to see you go.
Well, I can only stay till 11, so get your comments in before that.
Right. It'll help us be a
Excellent.
little more succinct, maybe. I love it too, because everything you were saying, I was thinking the same thing. That's how I felt. That's what I loved, you know, and even the survival thing, I always thought like Swiss Family Robinson, because I'm older. But yeah. So, and when I go and climb in the treehouse at Disneyland, I don't know if you know, for those of you who've been there, that was always so magical to me, because I thought I could totally live in a treehouse. I could do this, you know, this would be so awesome. And so I grew up having those ideas and thoughts. And yes, and I could take a home, I could make a log cabin a home, I could beautify it, I could do, you know, whatever. I felt that way. And I think, okay, so maybe there are a lot of things that we feel naturally, you know, we're naturally inclined to, but we cover all that up, you know. And I think I love also the idea of giving our children back their childhood. And I saw a post about that somewhere this week, and I thought, yes, that's so vital, so important. Now, Cassie, were you going to say something, sweetie? Okay, all right. So that's another huge thing that I remember the conference talk where somebody talked about the badge of busyness, you know, and just taking that off. We got caught up in that idea that we needed to, if somebody said, how are you doing? You wanted to be able to say, oh, I'm swamped. You know, I've just got so many things going on. Like somehow that was a good thing. And I've learned to say, oh my gosh, I'm great. You know, I've had so much time just to whatever it is, you know, and I'm really enjoying that. How's that a bad thing? Like that's the great thing. But we got confused. We've done the same thing with our kids, you know. Oh yeah, right. The badge of busyness is the world's version of a participation award. Right. Right. And really, how valid is that? You really want that over having a, you know, a more rich, wonderful, relaxing, enjoyable, you know, fabulous life? We've done the same thing with our kids, you know, enroll them in everything. Now, don't, you know, I'm not saying that it's not a good thing for kids to participate in something, but like I've heard parents that sometimes say, okay, we can only do one thing, one extra thing with our family, and maybe just one child, because if you do everybody, then the whole family's crazy. You know, every time that you create an event for one member of the family, you really are scheduling the whole family, because the whole family has to work around that. And so it's important to remember that, and, you know, consider what it is that you want to have your family life look like. Do you want to be running around all over to all these different things? And boy, it sure ought to be worth it and enriching your family if you're going to do that. So I think all these things are so, so interesting. Kristen, who just joined us, will love that this whole discussion got started off by a talk by Cadence sharing something she read in a landmark book, because Kristen collects those, I think, right, Kristen? Those and something else, some other kind of one of those historical collections.
Signature classics, landmark and signature classics.
There we go. So Cadence was sharing that she was reading one on Albert Schweitzer, and it has brought about this question for her, which is, what were my ideals from my early childhood? And so that's what we're discussing, you know, and I think this idea of really exploring that and asking ourselves that question and writing down the answers would be really good exercise for all of us. You know, and how are we honoring that in our lives now, you know? And then the idea of overscheduling our kids, taking their childhood away, you know, and we're getting this opportunity to give that back, to help them to have a rich and wonderful, very sweet childhood. Okay, other thoughts on this, moms? Lindsay, I forgot that we've got 3 Lindsays. Lindsay Cardall is here too. And I think the Lindsay Bunting and Lindsay Cardall got together yesterday, or saw each other yesterday anyway. I think that's fun. That's even a possibility to run into each other. Oh, hold on, you're muted. Hang on. I think you have to unmute.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, I guess our kids are attending the same little homeschool activity school. I don't know what it's called.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's good to see you back, Lindsay. Welcome back. So how are you doing? Do you have any thoughts on what we're talking about today?
Oh, I'm still just trying to learn from you guys. I feel so I don't know. It's good. It's good to be around you guys because every week I'm like, I'm not quite where you guys are at. Like I still am new to the Well-Educated Heart. I'm trying to implement it, but I was traditionally schooled, and my mom's a school teacher, and my dad worked for the city, and so I just had a very traditional education. So it's like struggle in my head still to like kind of let go of all that stuff. Like I want to in my heart, but my head, it's a struggle. So I'm still just trying to learn from all you guys. Like I love what you say and I agree with it, but I'm like, but what about, I just can't quite let it go. So it's good to listen to you guys and try to get there.
It's hard in anything new that comes our way, to let go of old ideas and thoughts about it, isn't it? That's just a hard thing. But these well-educated heart principles fit our lives no matter where we are, and no matter how we're schooling our kids. All those different ways we can integrate the well-educated heart ideas in any of those scenarios. And just for us as moms in our lives, it's just such a blessing to have this new idea of nurturing our hearts, and helping our lives be richer. And I think that's just so significant. So anyway.
And don't worry about feeling new and not having something to contribute, because you do. I learned that.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway.
Exactly. I don't know, Lindsay, if you were here the day that, we were talking, and man, Cadence asked a question in this very humble, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I have nothing to bring here, but I had this thought, and it was our whole discussion revolved around that. And it was just beautiful. So we each bring something to the party, regardless of our level of experience. That's what I think anyway.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We all have different perspectives and we're all learning different things. So we have something worth sharing. So I actually kind of am getting to the point where I love when Friday comes and I have no idea what we're talking about, because then I know I'm not bringing it, somebody else is, and I love that. And I love Ruby. Hi, Ruby. And Melissa, welcome.
Hey, I had a thought on my mind this week that I wanted to share.
Great.
I've been reading this book. Let's see if I can flip it around. Women's Work, the first 1 years.
Great.
And just in the first page of the book, it talks about, I'm just going to read a chapter here, or I mean a paragraph for a second.
I was going to say, I'm going to have to get comfortable.
No, just a paragraph. A little, yeah. It talks about the labor, the division of labor between men and women historically.
Uh-huh.
And this researcher, they're quoting, found that the compatibility of a pursuit that women did historically would have to comply with the demands of childcare, if only because the exigencies of breastfeeding, which normally happen till 2 or 3 years old. So nowhere in the world was the rearing of children primarily responsible of men. Thus, the productive labor of women was not to be lost to the society during the childbearing years. The jobs regularly assigned to women must be carefully chosen to be compatible with simultaneous child watching. So such activities have the following characteristics. They do not require rapt concentration and are relatively dull and repetitive. They are easily interruptible and easily resumed once interrupted. They do not place the child in danger, and they do not require the participant to range far from home. So it's saying that these activities were primarily food production and textiles historically. But I kind of thought about it in a different way. Women do these activities because men couldn't take care of children. So women could do all the activities that men could historically, but men couldn't do the child rearing. And so women ended up in what we today figure as these monotonous, dull, repetitive roles that often in our culture are kind of looked down upon in these caregiving roles. But if women decided not to make those roles important in their lives, culture would fall apart. There would be no humanity because men can't do it historically. Today we have, different options, but these roles we kind of typically fall into historically were meant for us. Motherhood and nurturing were roles that men could not do. And so all these monotonous type roles that we see now are the roles that we were meant to do originally.
Yeah.
To help care for our children.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Women are mothers, nurturers by divine design. And I think the title you said was Women's Work, the First 20 Years.
20,000 Years by Elizabeth Wayland Barber.
Wait, the first 20,000 years. Oh my goodness. Okay.
It's a book about textile and the history of textiles.
That is really interesting. That's super interesting. I love that. Thanks for sharing that.
So yeah, it was just, the scientific book about division of labor and textiles. But in the first paragraph, I was able to glean just those little things from it, which I thought was neat.
Right. It would be so lovely if we could all bring back the beauty and honor and integrity of women's work. We are able to do such a beautiful work, and it should be something that is revered and honored. That's how it was in so many cultures for like that book we'll talk about it for thousands of years. And we've taken that, Satan has taken that same role, that same thing, and made it into a negative and an ugly thing. But it's not, those are all his lies. And we can bring that back into the forefront and into the light, and say, no, I am proud to do this. I am honored to be able to do this. I love that. Kristen, were you going to share something?
Yeah, I'll try and get it so my light isn't annoying everybody. Okay.
And I was going to say, I looked at it's exigency is the word that you ran across. And it means an urgent need or demand.
Thank you.
Interesting. So one of the things that I was thinking about when Melissa was reading that was that I'd never thought about this before, but think about maybe like doing your dishes and one of your children comes in and wants to talk to you. And because we're doing this menial task that like the book said, you can drop it and come right back to it, pick up right where you were. So that's one thing is we can drop it, but at the same time, because it's something that we don't have to think about, or even if we're cooking a recipe that we've made a lot of times before and we don't have to think about it, we're able to focus on our children. And so those things that have been traditionally women's work, things that we did, are things that we can continue to nurture while we are doing those things, versus, so think about when your children comes, when you're preparing a meal or cooking dinner, or I guess that is preparing a meal, washing dishes or folding laundry or something like that, versus if you've got some little task on the computer you're trying to do and they come in and you cannot focus on them. You can't, because your focus is somewhere else. Anyway, I just loved that thought that by virtue of the tasks that we traditionally do, we're able to nurture even while we do the tasks.
That's so funny because yesterday I was listening to a podcast while I was doing some chores and my son comes in and he's just starts jabbering. So I have to push pause and I'm listening to him. And then he stops. And so I'm like, okay, he's done. So I push play and then he starts right back in. So I'm like, okay, stop. And after he finally like 10 times, and I'm not exaggerating because he had a lot to say. And I said, how come is it every time I push play, you start talking in it? And he goes, well, sometimes I just have funny or mysterious or just plain things to tell you. I was like, oh, okay, move on. It was just, but it had to be something that could be interrupted, because, but it was important to him. So mothers should be flexible.
Exactly. Exactly. And it is lovely when you have those days where the whole day is a day that is filled with those menial tasks and you are available anytime your kids need you. That really is, those are the best days. I feel bad when I'm engaged in something and then the other thing is when I'm engaged in something else that requires more of my attention, and I'm not saying those are bad things, but when I am, I can even get irritated when they're coming and asking me. If I'm just doing I'm folding clothes, I'm doing laundry, I'm sorting, I'm doing the dishes, I'm preparing a meal, I can, like Kristen said, I can easily have a very meaningful conversation with them. Or if it gets a little deeper, I can set it aside, go sit down, have that conversation, and then go back to the task. So, wow, what a beautiful gift we were given in just the nature of our work. I love that.
I love that too. Just that is like, I feel like my mind has been blown right now of thinking, oh, this is such a good thing. Oh,
Yes, no, rather than a negative, a burden, or just a nuisance kind of a thing, what a blessing. Heavenly Father has given us this blessing, this way that we can serve our family, we can take care of and be very effective in our role, and we can nurture our children and our husbands, at the same time. I think that's wonderful. And, women used to wait, hold on, I can't even think of how to say that. I still can't. Oh, well, but women used to think it was a wonderful thing to be a homemaker, and they wanted to be a good homemaker. That was something that they really strove for. And why do we not do that? Or maybe some of us do. Like I have a little niece, one of Kristen's children, especially. I mean, not that the others don't, but one especially, Eliza, and maybe it's her age, whatever. But that little girl, she's a young lady. Excuse me, she's a young lady now, but anyway, she loves those things. She has nurtured that in herself since she was tiny, and it's just fun to see her find so much happiness and fulfillment in those things. So that would be a wonderful gift we could give our children if we help them to see that we actually love what Lindsay's doing. Aren't you all jealous that you can't be folding laundry right now? Or I'm not sure what she's doing, but that's what it looks like. But we could feel fulfilled in those things. Heavenly Father has blessed us with a life where if we had the eyes to see it, right? If our hearts were open and softer to be able to see things as they really are, which Kristen and I have been talking about lately, we could see, oh, this is another blessing. Oh, this is yet another thing that Heavenly Father has blessed me with, that I can do this. What do you think about that?
Well, sorry, I'm going to talk again. It reminds me of that story, the Queen's passing by again. She was doing all the man's work. She was doing the potatoes out in the orchard and all these things. And her home was just going by the wayside. And just that one little change changed the whole dynamic in her home, and that's what our goal is. Yeah, I love that story.
Yeah, I do too. Thanks for mentioning that. Thank you. I love that. And I think that's probably a good thing to listen to fairly regularly. Okay. And then Lindsay Cardall.
Yeah. So probably like a month ago, I don't know who was present, but I made a comment of how I didn't used to like to be called a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Because like what you were saying, I didn't like what stay-at-home moms did. Laundry, cleaning, dishes, like constantly doing all that stuff. I mean, that's not fulfilling to me. So I want to be like I consider myself a work from home mom, and I kept myself busier, and I was busier with like work outside the home and stuff and inside the home. But like since finding like the Well-Educated Heart, like you said, I wouldn't say that like this is like my favorite thing to do, but like but like you said, this is like our, this is like our, I don't know, like a calling, or, you know, like, and it's not like, it's not so bad. Like, I know that it seemed like a crazy thing, like, oh, that's all they do is like laundry and cleaning up messes, and that's not fun, you know. But you get to be around your kids more, and like, I don't know where I'm going with this, but basically my heart has changed, you know. So I'm like, I'm okay to be called a mom now, or a stay-at-home mom, or like, that's, you know, yeah, that's what we do, a lot of cleaning up and behind the scenes stuff, but like, it's important, you know. So my heart has softened, you know, towards that kind of stuff, because I'm a mom and I'm happy about it.
Yes, yes, I love that. I love that these changes are happening. I think that's wonderful for us to feel and be able to say, yes, I'm a mom. I'm a mom and I'm a homemaker and I'm good at it. Or I'm getting better at it, you know, something, or I love it, even if I'm horrible. What?
I always growing up, my plan was to be a very professional mom and have someone take care of my kids. That changed a lot, but I always thought it was weird when working with people in traditional cultures, the women were always so proud that their whites were really white doing their laundry, or their tablecloths were spotless, or you had already eaten, but you were eating their food anyway because they made it with love. And they took so much pride in those little things that I just took for granted, you know, throwing a load in the laundry and throwing a microwave meal in between events or whatnot. But as I learn more and take a step back, I'm like, yeah, they did put a lot of love into that, and a lot of repetition and monotony and caring for their kids in that process. So those things have stood out to me more lately.
I love that. Gosh, this is wonderful. Yes, I think, you know, Satan has put this I don't say wonderful in the way that that means. He has put this very effective veil over the earth, you know, over the things that actually matter. And that whole idea of good becomes evil and evil becomes good. He has confused us and had us see things in different ways, you know, kind of fed us a bad narrative, and we bought into it. So it's kind of nice to have the blinders taken off of our eyes and to be able to start seeing things as they really are. I love that. Lindsay Watkins, you were going to say something. Oh, I'm sorry. You were telling me, yeah, read the shirt. I am, you know, I am a mother of influence. I'm going to have to do that. I have to order some shirts, and then we can all go around wearing them. We'll just have one of you who are young tell us what we should get so that they'd be cute and stylish rather than old and not cool. So, other thoughts? I love this. Wouldn't that be awesome if we went around feeling like doing the laundry, scrubbing the toilets was an awesome thing that we got to do because we were doing it because of whatever it means to us, all the different levels and ways that it means something to you. I remember when I was working, and I worked for 14 years full time, and all I wanted was to be home scrubbing toilets. You know, I need to remember that. That's what I wanted, you know, because sometimes I lose that just a little bit, you know, and I need to hang on to that. Kristen Gavidas, you were going to say something.
So I just, when thinking about everybody wearing their badge of mothers of influence, wearing a shirt that says that and proudly saying that, it had not occurred to me until just that, as you were saying that, just then, the whole idea of influencers and Instagram influencers. Yeah. And I am having, I'm trying to think of the right word. The word I'm coming to is disdain. And I don't mean that I have disdain towards individuals who are considered influencers, because I think a lot of them are doing a lot of good. But that idea I see creeping into a lot of people that I know and love, feeling like, if I'm not an influencer, what I'm doing worth anything? And I just think, isn't that interesting? Once again, this word that Marlene has taken one direction, and Satan, I'm not going to say that the word influencer is coming from Satan, but that idea that is, I think I'm seeing more and more people that feel so much like they aren't as worthwhile because they're not an Instagram influencer, you know, but being a mother of influence can have a lot more positive effect than, you know, the most popular Instagram influencer. But
Yes.
Satan doesn't want us to see that.
Right. Right. And anything that is good, he'll put a spin on it that makes it a negative or carries us away from this wonderful ideal to something false. You know, it's this, I've been so thinking so much and reading and doing things this past month that have been about this, what's real and what's false, you know, like the true identity, you know, that, and the false identity. The Cadence says, and I love this, she was adding this comment, I think also looking at it not from an I'm a better homemaker than you type, right, exactly, to I make a huge difference in my home and therefore in the world. And I love that. I think sometimes we can get the wrong impression of being a homemaker. And then she added to Kristen's comments, Satan has done that to a lot of words, you know, changed what they mean or what they mean to us. Fun. Making connections.
I have, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna kind of go off of what Kristen was saying is, you know, I think first and foremost, you are an influence, like we've been saying, in your home, for sure, right? That is the most where we need to start. And then if we are doing that, then I think our influence does seep into other people's lives that may be searching it, you know, like my friend's daughter who comes to our house a
Right.
lot, right? Like we've talked about before,
Yes.
because her parents are tired, they're, you know, whatever their situation is. So if we could be, maybe it's not an Instagram influencer, but maybe it's the influence that seeps into outside of our own home because other people don't put the value of that in their home.
Mm-hmm.
And so our hearts and our mind are searching for it. And so when we see it, all of a sudden you become that house where all the kids are always at your house. You become, you know, the mom of like 20 other people, you know, in your kids' lives at that moment. You know, it's because you are a influence, you're an influencer. And so you are influencing these children and possibly these other moms who may be, you know, I don't know what to do, you know, kind of thing. But they see how calm you are, they see how loving you are, and they just want to tap into that, you know, because they're trying themselves to be an influence. So I always say you just never know who you're influencing because you're always, you know, learning. But yeah.
Right. And there is a good definition of being an influence. Like Kristen was saying, you know, here's Marlene's this wonderful idea that she's put out there, and then here's this, you know, more negative way that we can take that. I think that's, yes, or maybe they see us trying to be more calm and loving, right? And that's another thing too, is also, I think another huge thing that we can do in helping other moms is we're not perfect. We're not there yet. We still make mistakes, but we're trying, and we accept ourselves. And we love ourselves even when we fail. You know, we can say, all right, I didn't do that so great, but I'm working on it. I'm going to keep working on it. I'm going to keep moving forward. We're not doing the negative, you know, we're not doing the berating and whatever. We're trying to be positive and move forward. I think that's a way that we can help influence and help other moms see a better way to move forward. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have this perfect page, this perfect situation, this perfect life. You just have these wonderful goals, and you are positive about moving forward, you know, and being that positive. I don't know. But I love this conversation. Somebody else was going to say something. I can't remember who else unmuted earlier. Lindsay Bunting, was that you? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was. But every time I have something to say and then I'm quiet, it all gets kind of talked about anyway. So I think I don't have to say it. But I don't know, it's just funny talking about influencers, Instagram influencers. I spent all last week with my really good friend who is
Huge.
that's what she does. She's this huge Instagram influencer, and being around her and her family, it doesn't make me want to trade places with her for any amount of money. Like, I think you make a lot of money and that's lovely, but the sacrifices she makes influencing her own family, her own kids, it's just not worth it. But it's funny because when we get together, I find that, I mean, I don't know, not like to brag or anything. I don't know, it's going to sound wrong, but I find that I end up influencing her in a good way, which is kind of fun to watch, because then I'll look at her Instagram and she focuses more on showing the time that she's spending with her kids. And she does try to focus more on her kids because she can see from our family what that does. So I may not be making buku bucks influencing on Instagram, but then when we get together, I feel like I'm an influencer in a good way for her, which is fun. It's just a fun friendship that we have, that we're still very different, and yeah, and the influence we have on each other. But she does do a lot of good. So she, but it's a struggle for her too. The more that she learns, I'm not going to read you this. It's an old menu.
Yeah, but we
interesting.
have the potential to influence hearts, and I think that that's a little more significant, And it's kind of like so if we have this opportunity to influence, what do we want to do with that? What is it we want to influence people to do or to become, I don't know.
Someone in my neighborhood ward, she said something that I thought was so interesting. So someone had posted this picture of her and her kids doing something. I think it was for Valentine's Day or something, but she had said, "Oh, you are so wonderful. Will you be my mom?" And, come be my mom. She's this grown woman. We all want to be mothered. We all want someone to touch our hearts. I think, I don't know, I'm just speaking for myself, but I just thought that was wonderful. She wanted someone to be her mom, of be kind. So I don't know where I'm going with this. I need to look out for people who I can mother, I guess, in a loving way, not like, I don't know.
Oh, I think that's a lovely thought. And I think that's something to explore as well. Who in our lives, are we having that kind of a positive influence on? We may not realize that. And yes, everybody needs that and wants to feel nurtured, wants to feel loved and accepted, right? In that way that only a mother, in the true sense of that word, meaning the whole sense, all of that mothering and nurturing, and some of us, sometimes people didn't have that in their mothers, and so they get that from other women in their lives, and sometimes that can end up being you. You may not even know that you're that person for somebody, but that soft side is so just beautiful. Amy, yeah.
I was gonna say, hi sweetheart, are you leaving? Sorry.
Being a mother.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Grady.
My husband's leaving. Okay, goodbye. That I've noticed that at least in my life, and maybe this goes back to kind of what we were talking about too, is that, or I forget who was mentioning, that I think we search out to the mothers of influence who may also be more centered in Christ. My brain's going to ping pong. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find, I wish I was good like Linnell with words and just mush it all together. But it's the ones that, like maybe Lindsay's friend who, she might see Lindsay being, she's a great person, but maybe, this is what I've just noticed in my life, is that people who tend to maybe not be as centered, yes, they believe, and yes, God's in their life, but maybe not be as centered. And I think it's that light and that love that you feel, and maybe that's why her friend sees that in Lindsay, because she has that love and that light. And I've noticed that in my own life, that I tend to want to be around people who have really a stronger Christ-centered life. And even though I might be going through, like we all do with a roller coaster, that sometimes I lean on them a little bit more. Does that make sense? See, this is where I need Linnell. Okay, Linnell, take it away. Mush it together.
No, I love that. I love that. I want to know where Kristen's going to go with that. Kristen's off.
Well, so I was just actually just going to go off of one comment that Lori had made a second ago about how we don't know who doesn't have a mother influence in their lives. It might be there are others that we can influence because they might not have that mother influence. But I was just thinking about how many of us who do have a mother that is involved in our lives and is spiritually centered, like Amy was just talking about, and those kinds of things. But my mom looks at the life I am having to raise my children in, and it's very overwhelming and daunting to her. She feels like, how do you even help your children navigate all the things you have to help children navigate these days? And so, as much as she is a support to me and a help to me, there are things that she doesn't even understand. And there are things that I do differently in my parenting than she would have ever dreamed of doing because of the world we live in. And so no matter what kind of a support system people have from their families, we always can be an influence on them. So that was just my thought.
Yeah, no, I love it. Thank you. I think that is something we are not aware of. The possibilities, the opportunities we have, but the Spirit can help us. If we are, I think I used to complicate things so much. I know I did, but I joke about, I'm starting to learn some things now that I have time, and now that I'm too tired to do other things. I have time to think about things and kind of gain some perspective, but it's not something that you have to wait till you're older to gain, but to realize this life can be so much simpler than we make it. If we wake up in the morning and we have that quiet time, we put God first. If that means waking up before our kids, or if that means having that quiet time before we go to bed the night before, so that but before we start that next day, we've had that time to engage and to connect. And then we ask, what would you like me to do today? Or what is my focus today? Or however you phrase that in your life, in your heart, in your head. And you just take it one day at a time. Or some days you take it one section of the day at a time. Some days you take it 5 minutes at a time. But if you go with the Spirit directing you through your day, you'll know all the right things to do, and even to say, and the right responses, all of that. And we're never going to be perfect at it. We're always going to mess that up, but at least we have that kind of framework to help us move forward and feel a little bit more directed and a little bit better about where we are. Yeah, Lindsay Watkins.
Well, it reminds me of the question that we talked about yesterday, and from President Nelson, where he said, what would you do if you had more faith? And for me, it's like, well, if there's somebody that really inspires me or has influenced me, it's like, well, what would I do to be more like that person, to be more centered like her? And you have to surround yourself with those people that are going to lift you and push you to help you increase, as opposed to, rehearsing your doubts with all the other doubters. So it just, that's what I feel about this group, is I feel like I've been pulled out of the rut that I was in, and I'm being pushed to grow, and I'm being pushed to increase in areas of my life that I didn't even remember that they were there, or they were in the rut for so long that I just grew roots, just what would you do if you had those people in your life? Would you become more like them?
I love that. I loved that question from that talk, that, what would it look like if you had more faith? So what would it look like if you were more fill in the blank, whatever the thing is that you are wanting? But and he said, write about it. So really think about it and write about what that would look like, and how that would be if you were more of a homemaker, or more of a nurturer, or more of a, whatever that is. If you like this, the question that Cadence started us out with, what were my ideals from my early childhood? What were those things that Heavenly Father put inside of me, that were important to me, that I wanted in my life, that, that I, as a little girl, thought about, because I think that's important. I think those things are significant. And then what would that look like? And maybe we do that. Maybe we write about what would that look like, and be brave enough to think that it actually could be, that our lives could be that. I think that's an interesting thought. And welcome, Kathy. It's nice to have you with us. We love when you're here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry to get on so late. I get ready to go to a doctor appointment, so.
Nah, we'll take anything we can get.
Thanks.
Now, all of us, I feel like we're family. I mean, we are, I always feel bad. My last frontier is when I'm driving in a car. Like, I'm pretty much kind to people nowadays. I pray for charity all the time, because I learned that was something that you were given, right? You just didn't just come upon it. But it was a gift. So I've been praying for it. And so I really am starting to see people more the way Heavenly Father sees them, and, having those kinder, more charitable feelings and everything, except when I'm driving. And so when I'm driving and I have I'll even say out loud, something, and I don't swear or anything, but I'll just be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just did that. And just, oh, what were you thinking? That kind of, and I think, okay, Lori, that, like, you don't know who that is. It could be somebody, but even if it isn't, it is somebody that they are part of your family, in that giant eternal, sense of the word, and you should be kinder. Anyway, I don't know why that came up. Sorry. Oh, because we're all family. And I feel that so much. I love that. I look at this grid of people, and even if your face isn't on screen right now, most of you are, but even if you can't be, I still know who that is. I know who you are, and you are one of my friends, and you are one of my sisters. And I love that. I love that feeling. I love that connection. I love that Heavenly Father put us together. What a beautiful, wonderful thing. I just think that's so great. Anyway. Sorry.
I would like to, sorry. I'll type it in the chat. It's not really big.
Go, Cadence, go, because you always leave early. So
oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah,
I do need to leave. What was I going to say? Oh, this conference chat group. How can I get in on that? Will you invite me to?
Yes. So what we're doing is we're very loosely, just to make it easier on me, we're loosely following the schedule that is over at both Inklings Institute. So that's on Instagram, Inklings Institute and Work and Wonder. And if you're not on Instagram, just make sure your email is in the chat. And I sent out an email that had, that has links to printing out the little workbook. The workbook has, or the study book has a schedule page that shows the talks that we're studying each week. So there's a different talk for each week. And then we will get together once a week. And I'm thinking I might do Tuesdays, and I might do like first and third, second and fourth, one time do morning, one time do evening, so that we can make sure we pick up everybody, because of our different time zones. It's kind of weird, but we will put in the Instagram. And if you don't have Instagram, just tell me so that I can so that I can make sure to send you an email, and I'll tell you what talk, make sure you know what talk you are talking about. Okay. What talk we're studying. That's the Instagram account. That's us. So at Mom Scholars on Instagram. But if you're not Instagram, like I said, Cadence, I will just send you a reminder. But if you print out, I'll send you that email. And if you print out the schedule, the little workbook thing, you'll have the schedule of the talks, and you'll know each week which talk it is that we're working on. So we just read the talk and then we share it together. But I do want to mention something while you guys are all on screen. The 2 talks that my sister-in-law's recommended that are on Instagram, and Cadence, I'll send those to you. But those 2 talks by Elder Bednar, Oh, they're so good about helping you know how to study those talks. It gives you just some tips, some ideas of how to take that talk and break it, break it apart and find the principles and figure out what you could do and find the blessings, so Cadence, I will send you all that and let you know what talk we're working on. And then next week on Tuesday, so I did it morning. So maybe next week I'll do evening, and then the following I'll do morning, and I'll just do that. And hopefully that won't be too confusing. And we got together and I had to go because of it doesn't matter why, but I had to go leave the room, and the moms just talked, so it's not me. I'm not like hosting. I'm not whatever. We're all getting together and talking about what we're studying, and what we're learning from those talks. So that's what we're doing. There are other things on the Inklings and on the Work and Wonder that they mention, and it's the things from President Nelson's talk, where a couple of different ones that he's talking about study. What are your mountains? What are your mountains? And it's time to, to conquer those mountains and miracles, study about miracles, learn about miracles, and increase your faith. The things that he talked about that we need to do, we'll also be kind of hitting that as well along the way. But we need to be studying them. So this might give us a little bit of encouragement to study those talks, to study those principles. And anybody who feels like they have the time, want to get together and discuss it, we'll do that on a Zoom weekly. And if you can't, don't worry about it. You don't have to have a group or an Instagram page that you're following to be able to be an effective gospel scholar. That's something you can do at home by yourself, just getting inspiration and doing that. But anyway, Cadence, what would you like to say as you wrap up your time on here, since you started this whole thing? It's your fault.
I don't know if I have anything. I just feel so uplifted. I'm just so happy to be here. And this has just been life-changing for me. And the funny thing is that, well, I guess now I'm getting into it here, that I've kind of felt this way my whole life of, I've had a friend here or there who would get a small part of what was in here. But I feel like this group has gotten the most of all the things that are in my heart. And I haven't even shared all that much. I just feel so comfortable and feel like everyone's seeking this goodness. And anyway, you're all a blessing to me. And I'm so thankful to be on here. So thank you for having me.
You bring such a sweet, it's just such a sweet and good to the core spirit. And I love that about you.
Thank you. I'll go cry.
But thank you. Thanks for bringing the discussion topic for today. I love that. I love that. Anyway, I'm not sending you off. I have
to go, but thank you.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
So wonderful. Okay. And then Lindsay Cardall, were you going to say something earlier, or were you just grabbing stuff out in front of you? I couldn't tell if you were going to mute. Okay. And somebody else who was going to go when Cadence did, I can't remember. Was going to say something.
I was going to say something because I joined late and didn't realize that was the question. And so as you were just talking, it was just, when I became a mom, I didn't grow up, like, oh, I'm going to be a mom and do all of that, because my mom and our relationship was, and so, just like, Kristen was saying, some of us have like, great mom, relationships. Well, I don't have that. And so I was just excited just to get married. Somebody wanted to marry me. I was like, hey, this is great. And so to have kids was just, I didn't know what to do really. And so for me, the influence was learning from other people and what I liked that they did in parenting. That's how I learned when my kids were young. Oh, I like what she's doing over here. I like what they're doing over here. And then I would see like their kids, that are a little bit older, and they seemed, put together or nice. And I'd be like, oh, what did you do? How did you do that? That kind of thing. And I just really think that, and even now with my teenage kids, learning from you, Lori, and learning from all the other moms still, of you know, like going outside, you know, and being encouraged to go outside. I mean, it's just been a great, I don't know, a great thing of just learning from everybody, that the moms and the mom influence that you have, and that, you know, you can be 20 or you can be 82. You're still influencing me. And, you know, whether it is organizing, cleaning, how you're raising your kids, you're still influencing me, and to be a mom. And it's such a great gift. Okay, I'm done.
Oh, I love it. I love that. And I think probably we all do a little of that, you know, looking outside to see, okay, what do we like, you know, in other mothers and other people, other situations, you know, and see what can I learn there. And I love that. I love how much we have learned and gained in our lives from Ginny over at 1,000 Hours Outside. I am so grateful to her. And I don't even have any kids out, you know, little ones to be taking outside and doing that with. But I know that, like Ruby, who's getting her hair done over there, Ruby and her siblings, they are trying to get outside a bunch, you know, and they keep track of their hours. And even if you don't, you know, even if you lose, you know, you stop keeping track of the hours, it doesn't matter. If we're getting outside more and remembering, oh my gosh, how much fun that is just to be outside, and how good we feel, and all those blessings, you know, that's something that our friend Ginny gave us. And I love that, you know, and she shared that with the world. I think that's great. I did put in the chat, for any of you that can, please consider supporting Ginny by purchasing her new book. Her book, 1,000 Hours Outside, just came out. And on her webpage, she has a, but a like an early, you know, before it's out sale. So you can pick up that book for a little bit less than what it is originally. It'll be a signed copy. She'll sign that book for you, and you get a sticker or a badge or something. But I love that she's doing this, and it is changing families, and it is in bringing joy and beauty and warmth and calmness, serenity, peace, whatever, to not just children, but it is bringing all that to children, which I love, but it's bringing it to parents as well. So their whole families are having these new and different experiences. And look at Linnell out there being our, you know, little team leader there. She's got her kids outside. They're doing it right now. That's so great. Cassie lives over at the beach. She lives, oh my goodness, in a beautiful, beautiful place over there on the Central Coast, and gets to get her kids outside there. I see pictures of her kids out on the beach and playing together. I love that. So if you can, consider supporting Ginny by buying her book. So, and then sharing it. Keep sharing that with other people. It's been fun as I've posted things about it. The people that pick up on it and do it, you know, it's something that people need. They need to have that connection again with nature. You know, we're out in nature. Nature obeys God in everything. And I think there is something about that. And we feel, I don't know, we just feel more aligned, or we feel the spirit more strongly because of that. And our souls need that. So, but yeah, we learned from one another. Ruby, it looks lovely. Looks very good. Your mama does a good job. Ida, were you going to share? Are you coming on screen to share? Or do we just get to see your cute face? There we go. I love it. Don't you just love Cadence? Isn't she just the sweetest thing? And then to bring that, you know, to bring that topic, I love it. And see, Lindsay, that's going to be you. Don't hesitate. Don't be afraid, Lindsay Cardall. You are new. That doesn't mean anything. It means that you're learning every day, just like we are, you know. And so how is what you learned today insignificant to us, you know? I think it's important. I think we need to realize that everything that we're learning and experiencing is significant. And there may be people who need to hear that and need to know what it is that we're thinking, and even something that we're questioning or wondering about, you know, that puts that question into somebody else's mind.
You could be an answer to somebody's prayer and you don't even know it.
Yeah. Exactly. So don't excuse yourself, you know, just by being new. We love to hear what you have to say too. Okay, now Kate Williams, is that Kate DW? I don't know if you may not be able to be close to get on mic, but if you are, if it is you, welcome. We haven't talked to you for a long time. Linnell has stopped and we get to hear from her.
Hi, friends.
Hello.
I've enjoyed this conversation. I feel like I'm on a nature high right now because I have seen so many beautiful things. This is the first time my family has done a trail. And if you've been around for a while, you know that I'm not a nature person by nature. But I am becoming one. I am becoming one, and it's been amazing. I got to see the Mississippi River. We saw a female turkey. We're seeing all kinds of birds and plants. I think I saw what is a hummingbird nest, really tiny. And I wouldn't have known what it would look like if I didn't learn about birds last month. So it's just been a really good hour with my family. I got some balance bikes for my boys because training wheels are just too slow and we can't go far enough or fast enough. And they don't have the stamina for training wheels. So they don't know how to ride bikes without training wheels yet. But I know a family that they taught their toddlers how to ride bikes by starting them on balance bikes. So I got balance bikes and my kids are in the trailer back there. It's nap time, so they're tired, but we're having so much fun. So the thoughts that I wanted to share have to do with the discussion about motherhood and how that has to do with me enjoying nature. So I, at the beginning of the year, my first meeting with Mothers of Influence was when Ginny was a guest speaker. And she came on and invited everyone to get outside more. And I started getting outside in January, and it has been life-changing. But because of my goal to get outside daily, I asked a question to this group my first time and said, how do you handle all the housework? How do you get everything done so that you have 3 hours a day to be outside? And this was mind-boggling to me. I could not imagine myself being outside for 3 hours because I used to never go outside at all. And so with all my housework chores, I didn't know how I could fit it in. And it was kind of confusing to me, like, how do I manage all of this? I don't know how. So I asked the question, and someone, I don't know who, recommended the Minimal Mom. And she is a mother on YouTube who shares how she became a minimalist and gives lots of suggestions and ideas for how to simplify your home so that you're not spending so much time doing all the housework. And so I didn't look into her back then. I wasn't ready for it yet, I guess. But about a week or two ago, I came across it on Facebook as one of the suggestions for pages that I would like. And so I started watching her videos. And on Sunday, I made a floor goal. So that's a reference to Floors and Ceilings by Brooke Snow. Her podcast, go listen to it if you haven't. But I made a floor goal to take one load of stuff to Goodwill, which is a donation center. And in the past, I've tried to declutter my home, but I've just kind of tried to put it on Marketplace, or I've tried to put it in a box and it just gets pushed aside, but I never take it out of my house. So then eventually, if I need it, I'll take stuff out, or the kids will find it and they'll take stuff out, and it just doesn't ever simplify my home. But this week, as I have made that goal to do a floor goal and take things out of my house, it's been so freeing and so motivating. And I now have this vision of how I can simplify my home and my housework so that I can fulfill this goal of being outside. And so all of this goes to say that I think the purpose of motherhood is to experience maximum joy. And that's kind of what Marlene says about the purpose of education, is to experience maximum joy. And I think our life is meant to provide that in all aspects. And so if we're not experiencing maximum joy, what can we do? How can we change our lives or simplify our chores or do something different so that we are experiencing that joy? And I never would have been able to, I feel so grateful for the Minimal Mom, for whoever suggested that, for the things I'm learning so that I can get my house in order and have less to do. I don't think I would be able to really enjoy being outside right now if I had all of these things on my mind of things I have to take care of my home. And one thing I learned that was really like impactful to me from the minimal mom is she said, people always say that motherhood means a messy house. And if you have a messy house, then it's okay because that's motherhood. And then she said, well, that never felt right. And I kind of agreed with that. Some people say, well, you just have to let the house go and ignore it and you'll be fine because kids grow up. But she suggests that no, it's possible that you can have a clean house and peace of mind and peace of heart, that your house is clean and in order, and be outside and spend time with your kids and whatever you want to do. And so I feel like I am experiencing that possibility now. And I just feel so grateful that there are ways to do it both. And as we can manage our homes and as we can simplify our homes, it will allow us to feel greater joy in our motherhood, allow us to nurture ourselves and our children and have the time to do the things that we want to do. So that's just a push to go outside, enjoy nature, and look for that joy of motherhood.
That is fabulous. Doesn't she do such a good job of just bringing together the things that we've been talking about, summarizing them, finding little lessons and goals, and I love it. I love it. Thanks, Linnell. Yes, yes, yes. So I love that. The purpose of motherhood is to experience maximum joy. That's pretty amazing. Do you want to experience maximum joy, ladies? Yeah. Yes. So what you're doing right now in your lives, that is the way to do that. That's the path to find that. You know, we can all be influencers on Instagram now. We've got what everybody wants. I want maximum joy. But you know, the Lord does those things, helps us find those things by these small and simple things. You know, we do these small and simple things and great things are brought to pass. I think if our lives are simpler, yeah, that's going to be a lot easier. If our homes are decluttered, you know, yes, we're going to feel so much more like Kate said, decluttering your house is so liberating. Kate said earlier, she's on a different device and she couldn't find her mute button to unmute to say that, yes, it was her. So that Kate is Kathy Williams' cousin who joined us in the very beginning ones. She's in Florida and she's got her own group, you know, of moms that she works with and things. And so she's not here most of the time, but it's great to have you back. Ida, also the world looks for joy in the wrong places. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes. And there's so many people out there who want that. They don't know how to find it. You ladies, you do not have to share the gospel with people. You can share your family, yourself, your life, you can share your fascination about something that you just learned. You can share your appreciation for nature. You can share anything that you find this kind of heartwarming joy from. Share those things with people. People need that in their lives. And once they learn what you're learning, what we're learning here, once they learn that by nurturing and warming your heart, you're on that path, you know, and you're going to be finding those things. You're going to, don't you all feel, I mean, you've shared in different words and in different ways, but I think we're all feeling better, you know, regardless of what it is we're feeling. Each one of us are feeling better in our lives because we're here, and it has nothing to do with me. I don't believe at all that I'm not teaching anything. I'm a cheerleader, you know, I mean, I never want to be a cheerleader. That is not, that's not me, but I'm a cheerleader in the sense that I'm saying, yes, you can do this. Yes. You know, you are enough, and you are this amazing, wonderful person, and you are what your children need, and you are what people around you need. We just have to find that path. And now we're all on it, you know, this warming your heart, nurturing your heart so that you can find joy, peace, happiness, you know, whatever it is that you need in your life. This is the path for it. And Heavenly Father knows that. And if we're not listening to come unto me, come follow me, whatever. Maybe we'll listen to warm your heart, and so that's maybe an easier path, but it's really the same thing. It's really the same focus, that Christ-centered focus. That's what really makes us happy. Oh, hey, I got amazing cheerleader. Thank you, Ida. Maximum joy comes from doing things that are worthwhile and sometimes things that are hard. Yeah. Amy, I come here to this group to help fill up my heart, fill up my mom cup. Yeah. So are you feeling better, moms? I mean, do you feel like this well-educated heart path, this warming your heart, do you feel like that's helping you feel better? I want to share. Oh, there's Kate.
Hi, I made it. I found a way. Yes, to answer your question, it is, I feel like maybe some of these, we've been able to turn difficult situations into blessings. Like I would never have found you or this group if my cousin hadn't reached out all the way from California, and when we were so isolated and trying to figure out what was going on exactly, and we all needed friends, and it was really nice to be able to get to know new people and realize, oh, I'm not alone in my thinking, and there's actually a silent army out there with very similar concerns and interests, and we're finding our journeys and achieving so much. And it's great. I love that you're a cheerleader. I know you're not in the other sense of the word, but an emotional cheerleader. Can we say that? Because you are definitely doing that. Even though I don't make it on all the time, I do every chance I get. And it's so empowering, to join and to be here and to see each one of you in your journey progressing. So thank you for that. And I did want to make mention that I was just studying up for a convention coming up. I don't know if you've heard about the Florida Parent Educators Convention. It's a huge convention that happens every May, and it's like it's a homeschool convention, and they have roughly, last time I checked, there were about 17,000 registrants. Those are families, by the way. It's huge. It's huge. And they have about 150 classes through a 3-day weekend that you can attend. I just wanted to mention about that because at least it seemed like one class every hour out of 13 or something in an hour that you could choose from related to literature, art, from the classics, and also Charlotte Mason, and all these same topics that you have been talking about all along. So I just wanted you to all know that there are a lot of people realizing that going back to the classics and finding our children's love for learning is so powerful, and they're excelling with that. And that is just awesome to see.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's so good. It's so good to see that out in the world, and to see hearts changing, and to know that, yes, that silent army, is moving forward. That silent army is moms, parents. I think I love it. I love it. And Ida, sweetie, you were going to say something. I don't know if you remember, but you always have something good to say anyway.
I can't remember what I was going to say. And I don't know. I just love being here, and this really is great. We've had we're getting ready to do this garage sale for our adoption, and so people keep coming over and bringing stuff. So I've been like answering the door and talking to people, like, okay, let's put this away. But anyways, yeah, it's always filling. It fills my cup, and I loved what I caught earlier. The idea that it's thinking about things that are hard, why it's a blessing, and I never even thought about the idea, like Kristen was talking about, that our job as mothers, those mundane tasks, how often do we hear, oh, motherhood, like it's every day the same. Like I wash the dishes and they never end. I do the laundry, it never ends. And thinking about the fact that while you're doing those things, you have this opportunity to talk to your kids and be around them and like, and have interaction with them that you wouldn't have otherwise, you know? And I was like, that is really profound and such a good thing, because I know, especially as a young mom, sorry, there's lots of noise here. I would sit with other young moms and I would say, this is so hard, but not, and my niece, when she came to this group and she watched the, A Queen Rides By, she loved that. And I was talking to her about, like surrounding yourself with people that are going to build you and like that support what you're doing instead of, like instead of rehearsing your doubts with the doubters, if you guys are familiar with that. But she's like, I should be around people that are telling me the blessings of being a mother and motherhood, and how important this time is in my life with my 2 little kids that are super hard for me and giving me all these challenges. But like having people that are, instead of like, we're just sitting here commiserating about, oh my gosh, it's so hard. And I think that is so powerful to not dismiss the challenges of it, but to try to focus on the positives and the blessings that come from that. And like, I never considered that before. And that was like really eye-opening for me to say, yeah, I can talk to my kids. It's not always positive talk. I'm like, come on, hold your close. But I can probably take more opportunities to have positive conversations with them. I mean, if I'm being real and honest, they're not always positive.
Yes. Yes. I just love this. I remember years ago, I had a really sweet friend and she was talking and saying something about making dinner. And she said, a few years ago, I decided that I could either look at making dinner as a chore, and something that I didn't like. And it's time to make dinner for my family again. Or I could see it as another opportunity to share my love for my family. And then every slice that I make, every dice that I make, everything that I toss into the pot, I'm putting in there a little dash of love, and she said, and so that has changed my life. She told me that. And I thought, I've never heard it expressed like that. I mean, I guess I've heard, and add a pinch of love or, something like that, but I never got it into my head, and after her saying that, and then me thinking about that for a while, I thought, my goodness, couldn't we do that with every aspect of motherhood, But anyway, and then this discussion, this talking about it and getting into it is just so beautiful. Oh my goodness, look at that adorable little one. Is that yours, Ida? Is that one of yours? Oh, precious, precious.
Do you want to say hi? Say hi. Say hello.
Hello. Hello, sweetie. Oh
She's
my
got her
goodness.
snake here. Her and her brother are playing with their snake.
I love it. How fun is that? Oh my goodness.
It's my baby. She's 2. She just turned 2 on the 14th.
She's darling. We've been together
Thanks.
for a while now, friend.
I mean, I made her myself.
Good job. You are a fabulous creator, Ida. Hey, moms, if you are not listening to Brooke Snow, I do highly encourage that. There is so much positivity there. There is so much positivity there that you might, like in the beginning, you might kind of go, you cannot be that happy. Like, stop, because she's got so much joy and lightness in her voice even. But it is beautiful. It's wonderful. Linnell recommended her earlier today. I will second that. We talked about floors and ceilings a few weeks ago, about that idea, which is like, that was my mind-blowing thing. You have these wonderful high ideals and goals and things, which are great and wonderful, but you are probably going to fail unless you support those ceiling goals with a floor, and so you have these minimum goals. I will at least do this. My life has changed. I have so many things now that I am doing every day and feeling so good about. And like what she said, I may just do 3 cat-cows in the morning, but I did yoga this morning, and every day I am doing a little something. I am praying every morning, which sometimes I was forgetting. I was really kind of leaving that aside. I have my journal that has like 7 entries per page because I just put a tiny little thing for each day. And it is just, what direction did I get from the Spirit this morning about what my focus is for today, you know? And so like yesterday's was, I am blessed beyond measure, you know? And today I felt like, yep, keep that, you know, same one, keep that. I am blessed beyond measure. But I do that. I do that every day, you know, and I am in partnership with God. And then be humble. Trust me, you can do it with me. You know, I mean, there's just these little messages, but every day I'm doing it and I feel so good. And if I never reach my ceiling goals, but I'm being consistent with my floor goals, hey, I'm going to take that as a major win because I'm not consistent with anything usually, you know, maybe 2 weeks, you know, and then I'm done. Thank you, Lindsay, for putting that in there. Yes, she has podcasts too, and they're wonderful. They're so positive and encouraging. And she talks about this wonderful idea about your true identity. She has a book out. Lindsay Watkins has it. I know. I have it on my my Amazon account to read on my Audible, my Kindle. I mean, Kindle app. But it is so beautiful. This idea that your true identity is your divine nature. That is who you are. That is the light that you have. That is everything. And this goes back to Cadence's thing. This is what we're born with. This is what we come with. These ideals, these things that were your ideals from the time that you were a little girl, that's your divine nature. It's who you are. And we have covered it up because we have let Satan give us this narrative. I am not enough. You know, I mess up. I do this. I'm bad at this. Oh my gosh, I did this again. I'm so this, I'm so that, you know. And the thing that's interesting that she talks about is in the beginning, those thoughts are, you're not good enough. You don't fit in. You, whatever it is. But we know that we're in deep when that you has changed to I, because now I've embraced it. I've accepted it. Now that's become my narrative. It's not his that he's telling me. It's not the negative that he's feeding me. I've now fully accepted it. Yes, you're right. You're right. I've taken my enemy's view of myself and said, yeah, that's me. That's really sad. And I did that for a really long time. I'm 56 years old. I've been doing it for 55 and a half years, but not anymore. I don't do it. I can now recognize it. You know, it might take me a sec. It might actually come, you know, and come in here, but it's not coming in here anymore. I acknowledge it. Oh, that's you. Oh, I don't have to listen to you, you know, and I've put it away. You know, no. So if you have any of that in your life, if you've ever accepted part of that negative narrative, go listen, go get that book. It is so good. It is, she was sent here to write that book, to share those messages. That is something, you know, she has learned to take the skills that she has learned. She has always keeps them in gospel perspective. And that's how she presents them. And so I'm comfortable accepting what she's sharing. I love that because it's so gospel based. And okay, so podcasts. I didn't know about podcasts either. Lindsay did them always. And so that's how I learned about them. But on my phone, like on my little Android phone, there's a thing that is just podcasts. It just came on my phone. If it doesn't come on your phone, Lindsay, can you like share how we do that? But anyway, I can access podcasts that way. So I go to that and then, hold on. I go to that and then I get my list of, you know, the things that I have subscribed to, the different podcasts. And so there she is right there. My new best friend. I even told her that like on a thing. Anyway, the meditation app that I told you about, Still, hold on, Small Seed Still. They have a free part, they have a subscription part, but it's Christian meditation, totally different from Eastern meditation in some ways, but it's taking that time to be still. If you just go to that app to listen to her first 2 things, which are like the meditation 101 A and B, she talks to you about how to meditate. I'm totally off on a tangent, but I feel like it's important to share this with you all. So she talks about meditation, and she tells you that the thing about meditation is that meditation, what you're trying to do is be present in the moment, to let go of all the distractions and be present in the moment. If you think about that, she says, God is, one of his things is he is omnipresent. He is always present. If you are present and you are in the moment, you are right now one with God. What better place to be to receive inspiration and direction, to feel and know who you truly are, to feel and know inside who you are, to understand a little bit more in that moment when you're present of your divine nature, right? You are
Can I-
present with God.
Can I
Yeah.
go along with that?
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes when we, from the beginning, what you were saying, that we forget we are daughters of God, the doubt, right?
Yeah.
So my friend and I, we have started for the 30 days. We started, our line is, Heavenly Father loves me by, if you search for what Heavenly Father gave you that day, you know,
Yeah.
he gave me time to do this. He loves me by, right? And then I think it shows you how much of a daughter of God you are, that he is listening and that you are worth something. And so sometimes I'm not able to maybe do my gratitude or whatever, but with my friend, I'm able to say, today he showed me his love by doing this. And it's a reflection of that day of how the Lord does love you and
Yeah.
how you are worthy of his love, and you are worthy, and you are a daughter of God. And so and so that has been a great thing, because sometimes it's at the end of the day, you know, she'll text me and I'm thinking, well, what did he do for me today? You know, but it makes me think like, oh my gosh, I was, you know, my kids did this or we did that, or, you know what I mean? It could be something so small, but it's really a reflection, and to see his love for me, and to see that I'm worthy. I'm noticed by him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. It is great to look for those things. And there was a time in my life when I was feeling like, I don't feel the spirit. I don't even know what you people are talking about, you know, crazy people. I was a young adult and I just didn't know how to do that. And I didn't learn that necessarily in my home. And so I had a counselor person in my bishop, but, you know, like kind of a, you know, religious counselor in my life that said, hey, here's an exercise to do. Pray in the morning that you will be able to see God's hand in your life that day. And then at the end of the day, reflect back on the day, you know, and see, okay, when did I see his hand in my life? If you're struggling to see it because it's new, not because he's not there, but because this is new to you, then get down on your knees and pray again and say, help me to see when it was that he was here in my life today. And you will start to see it, and then write it down. And so, oh, bye, Lindsay. Sorry, you have to go. So I started doing that and kind of thinking, okie dokie, but what about when I come back to you next week and say, I didn't see it? And that was me, that negative, like, of course, everybody else can see it, but I'm not going to be able to, because somehow I'm not worthy enough. You know, I'm not something enough. I'm not spiritual enough. I'm not, you know, whatever, in tune enough. And it took a couple days, you know, when I was panicking, kind of like, oh, I'm not going to be able to see it. I'm not going to be able to see it. I'm not going to recognize it, you know, but it just took a couple days. And it was like, wait, was that it? Oh, was that a time? You know, I think that might've been a time, you know, so I'm writing it down in my journal, you know, and then the next day, like, oh yeah, that was, and that was, and that was too, you know, and I write those things down. And after a few days, I'm like, oh my goodness, he's been with me every day, all day long. I just wasn't opening my eyes to see it, you know? So we become more present. We look for those things. So back to meditation. So you're present. So that's the one thing. The second thing is your posture, this open posture. You know, yes, exactly. I just doing the yoga pose. There we are, you know. So this open posture, or a prostrate on the ground, right? That's one of the two things you can do. I mean, you can do whatever, but two of the suggested ways for meditation. Well, you go back to prayer in the ancient days, and prayer was either to God or prostrate upon the earth. but a very open receiving position. I'm open to receive whatever it is you have for me, you know? So there you go. There's that. And then the third thing, and we talked about this a few weeks ago, forgiveness. In meditation, every single time you are participating in meditation, you have this opportunity to practice forgiveness over and over again, because you're sitting there and you're meditating, or prayer, because it's very, you know, meditation is kind of very connected, like maybe a higher level, or a preparation for, you know, however it works for you. But you are in that meditation, and then you go to, oh crud, did I turn on the dishwasher last night? Are those dishes going to be clean, or are they going to be dirty? You know, oh shoot, I'm supposed to call, you know, right? And you, woo, you know, oh, off over there. So you get that opportunity to forgive yourself for the distraction, come back and begin again. That's where that came from. So, and then again, woo, and then, oh, forgive yourself, come back and begin again. You get to do that a few times during meditation. That helps you as you're practicing for this thing you should be doing in your life every day, you know, with yourself, starting with yourself. Oh, shoot, I yelled at the kids. I wasn't going to do that. I just said 5 minutes ago, I wasn't going to do that, you know, and I did it. Whatever the thing is, you know, whatever your thing is, forgive yourself, come back and begin again. Don't waste your time on all the, you know, beating yourself up. Just forgive yourself, come back and begin again. So many good things. So Brooke Snow, just she was sent here to help us in this journey of moving forward, letting go of the garbage, because all that is done has been a very effective tool of Satan's to slow us down, to, you know, to hinder our progress, right? And dampen our spirits. Don't let him do it anymore. You know, you've got too much good to do in just your home. You know, if you never get outside your home, you never influence anybody else. If you've influenced your family, that's incredible. Sorry, that's huge, huge. That's what you were sent here to do. If you get out and do a little bit more influencing, awesome, good for you. But that stuff you do in your home is the most significant. So, you know, just embrace it. Anyway, sorry, that was a very long. We've lost some of our ladies. We're getting down to the end.
Can I say something before you wrap it up?
Yeah, Lindsay, absolutely.
I just kind of wanted to say a few things about what a couple of different people have said, but I just found the small seed, or the simple seed, a few months ago, but we did our Easter thing and I loved it so much that I haven't taken it down yet. It's like how you hate to take the Christmas tree down. Like, I just love it so much. It was so awesome. I highly recommend it. You guys do it next year with your kids. But I also wanted to comment about how a couple of people had mentioned like how important it is to have good friends. And I just wanted to give a little spiel real quick. So I just feel like I'm in a group of friends that I have felt like I'm different than them, but like it's still okay for me to be around them, you know. But I feel like just over the years, and just even more so just like now, like it's just becoming more and more evident of like, I'm not sure. I know that some of you are LDS because I've heard you talk, but just becoming more and more evident of like those who are like close to the spirit, or like, you know, living their values and stuff. And I just feel like I'm more and more and more becoming like different, you know. And like a few months ago, I just felt like I don't know what to do. So like I read my patriarchal blessing and it talked about friends in there. And I had this feeling that I needed to stay like friends with these girls to be a good influence on them, because a lot of them are leaving the church. And so I was like, okay, well, I can do that. And so it's been a few months and I'm getting tired, because I just feel like I give as much light as I can, but they're not giving it back, you know. They're great girls, you know, but just in light of like, you know, the church and my values and how I want to live my life and raise my kids, you know. And you know, they invite us to play on Sundays and we say no, and then they rollerblade in front of our house and my kids feel bad because they see them, and you know, so it's just getting really hard. And so I don't know, I just feel like there's been a lot of things lately, because I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I just like was reading, I don't even know how it came up, because I wasn't reading the Bible. I think I was listening to something, but it was I think it was like Thessalonians 3 something, but it said like, be not weary in well doing. And I just felt like that was like, Heavenly Father was like, Lindsay, don't be like so tired. And I like have been learning a lot about like some church history, and like people would go on like 4-year missions and then come home and they go on this like another 4-year mission. And it's like, I'm sure they were tired and they've got nothing to complain about. And here I am, you know? And so I just feel like I want to, you know, I might not like this group of friends might not like be giving me the light, but like you guys are. So thank you guys. Cause I don't have like friends that I physically am like here that I talk to about like conference talks or like, what are you guys doing for FHE or like, you know, stuff like that. And like, I would love that. But like to get that from you guys, it's like so good because it's like, oh, great. Now I am, you know, Heavenly Father's like, you can have friends. They don't have to be like your next door neighbor, but they can be virtual or whatever. So anyways, I just, you know, wanted to thank you guys for welcoming into the group and yeah, for being a light to me that I really need. So thanks.
I love that you shared that, Lindsay. And I think there's probably a mom here that needs to comment back to you about that. I don't know which one of you is supposed to do that.
I don't know. I just know I know exactly how that feels, not having anybody to talk to about spiritual things. I remember the first time I ever talked to Lori about conference and her sharing her experience watching conference with her kids and things, and then being able to talk to her about the conference talks afterwards. And this was years ago. It just was so life-changing for me to have somebody to talk to about it, because I didn't have any friends that, I mean, they would go to church, but they weren't going to watch conference or talk about it afterwards. And my family doesn't, they don't care. So just, yeah, I get that. I get you need people who care about the things you care about. And I feel like this whole talk like today has been so timely for me, because I just came back from a week with my family who I love, and it was super fun, but they don't share the same values or the same things that I care about. And I just felt like my growth was like it just stopped for the week. And I was just so excited to come home so I could get back into my routines of the meditation and the family prayer and being with my family and doing dishes and doing laundry. Like, you stop all those things, the work that you normally like don't want to do when you're home. When I was away from it for a little bit, coming back, that just brought me so much joy. So I don't know, I'm not sure where I was gonna go with that. But yeah, it's nice sharing. It's nice having friends who share the same things that you care about.
Any other moms want to comment to that?
I think too, like, just as women, you know, we really need that connection. You know, that's so important for our spirits, and having connections with people that are going to uplift us and give us strength, right? Like, I mean, I don't have a lot of friends where I live because we moved to a new place and COVID and everything, and I just barely starting to really be able to even get to know anybody. That's my kids screaming. It's fine. They're fine. Anyways, and I just went to our first release study, our primary activity. I think I told you guys, some of you guys the other day about this, but can you shut the door? And I got to talk to somebody, like have a real conversation, and like I was like, this is amazing. And and then like on social media, like we have like Zoom classes and stuff or whatever, and I see people that way, but you don't have that same kind of conversation. And then also seeing people on social media, and you know what, we know that people are struggling, and I see a lot of people struggling with the gospel and with like their belief in Jesus Christ. And
Still alive.
She's still alive. She's still screaming. She's mad. That's her angry scream. Anyways, but seeing people like walk away from like that is really, it's really weighs you down. Like, it hurts your heart, you know, in a lot of ways. And so I think seeing other people that not only are strong, but they're working at strengthening their testimony and their spirituality, you know, like becoming stronger and closer to Christ. And that is inspiring and encouraging for me to keep going. Like, I'm not the only one. There's lots of us, and we're all there, you know, like we know that in the last days, Satan will be working hard, and so will Merity. So will the good people. Anyways, I better go check on that.
Yeah. No, but that's true. And that's what Lindsay, that does really drain you when you have these concerns about people that you love and you see them walking a different path. But you do have a responsibility probably to be a light to them. And, we all feel that, and that's happening a lot more these days. We're moving forward and hopefully being a help to those around us, but we're going to watch people walk away. And that's just going to be hard, and it is going to be draining. And so we need other support systems in place. And Heavenly Father has gifted us this group. Kate.
I just wanted to add that I feel like I'm in my mid 40s now, and I feel like as I have, walked this path and journey, that friendships have come and gone and changed in different seasons of my life. So I've gone through seasons where I felt like it was a famine of emotional connection with others around me, and then other times where I felt like I was feasting. And but I always had in my heart and mind to reach out, mainly because my patriarchal blessing says counsels me to do that, to reach out and remain humble, and I will be able to influence and be a light to others around me. And I, because of that counsel, have really taken it seriously. Sometimes I'm too tired, like you said, to reach out. Sometimes I just don't feel like it. I just want to stay home and be in my own little bubble and wrap a cocoon around me and just say, I'm tired of disappointment. I'm tired of being let down, or other people judgments, and not, or my own, perhaps wrong thoughts, that sometimes we interpret other people's thoughts or actions in error. And sometimes it's exhausting to try to, figure out what's going on in a friendship, and what happened, and what did I say that offended you, and those kinds of things. There's been an ebb and flow, I think, in friendships, but overall, when I have the courage to face those challenging times, it's been friendships that have uplifted me, especially, I have to say, finding, great groups like this, where I can find other women with like minds, whether we all have the same things in common. I'm sure we have lots of differences too. And isn't that beautiful spice of life, of finding people that have so much to offer? And I love the counsel and advice that I receive. And I just kind of am one of those people that for myself, I just put everything out on the table and then let everyone pick and choose. These are my great ideas, or these are my experiences. This is what I've learned over the years, and tools to help me, that have helped me, or whatever. And I'm one of those friends that just put everything out on the table, and I let my friends and people who care to listen pick and choose what works for them. And then I celebrate that. It worked, yay, okay. Or it didn't work, okay. I hope you find something that does. I'm just like, to see their own progress in their own journey. I think that's a beautiful thing. And so I'm grateful also for the friendships and the time. It takes a lot of time. Someone, we all know that there's introverts and there's extroverts, but I recently learned that there's a third group of people called an ambivert. An ambivert is somebody who is more in the 50-50 range, that they're somewhere in the middle. They love people at certain times, and then they need to go into their books and where you gain your energy from. It can be books, or it can be from your art time, or whatever your talents and your own thoughts are. And then other times you need to be around people. And I'm definitely an ambivert. The more especially the older I get, the less I'm an extrovert, which I always thought I was an extrovert until probably in my early 40s, when I learned about the word ambivert. And I was like, yes, that is so me. I can be around people for a week and a half, and then I just need to have a break. I need time for myself, and I need to fill my cup in another way. And so anyway, I just thought that was interesting, in case that is helpful to someone.
Yes, I love that. I'm definitely an ambivert. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Look at Cassie's little girl. How cute. Her little girls are so adorable. her little fluffy head. I'm guessing those are headphones, or did she have like earmuffs on? Anyway, cute. I love this. I love getting together. I love sharing these ideas. I love that we each feel supported, that it's bringing something to our lives. So, just stay positive, find the good. Heavenly Father wants us to be happy. We're never supposed to feel miserable. But gosh, can you see how the idea of homemaking being this negative thing that you're kind of embarrassed to share because people are going to kind of ridicule it or not value it? It's been like that for years. And so it's going to be hard to feel, to feel really great about that. But once you can push all that veil, all that untruth away and open it up and see things as they really are, again, that phrase just keeps coming up for me. Then we can rejoice in it. We can be so excited that this is what our lives are and feel so incredibly fulfilled doing just daily, regular, monotonous things, that we've done 1,000 times. But we can embrace it and realize what an incredible blessing Heavenly Father's given me to give me all of this monotony so that I can accomplish the things that truly matter. I love that. I absolutely love it. So, go out and do all the boring, monotonous things, mamas, and feel absolutely amazing and wonderful in all of it, and enjoy the people around you, and well, here she is. Cassie's back. Cassie, I was going to ask you if you had anything you wanted to share. I know you like to keep quiet, and I know you like to keep your comments in the chat rather than vocally, but I wanted to hear from you today. Before we go.
I guess in general, like a lot of my struggles are internal, and it's like I know a lot of times we see that it's like me against the world and there's all these outside influences, but like those don't faze me, and it's usually me battling myself. And I just love the perspectives and the advice and the ideas and the commonalities that this group shares, so that I don't know, it just feels freeing, and I'm not like all bottled up, or I don't feel like it's just me, or I'm something wrong. But and not to say that like I'm always in a dark place or anything, because I'm not, usually not. But like you said, seeing Heavenly Father's hand in everything, something that I can always pray about all day long is if every second that I get that's peaceful, I appreciate and I'm grateful for. Because if everything's just fine, then everything's great. When things aren't fine, like I'm grateful to get through it, and that I have resources and influences to help me through it, because prayers are answered. And like I said in the chat, like I found your post one day about this group, and I was like, something stood out that was just calling to me of ask about it, join it, and it just felt so right. And I'm so grateful. We might not all be neighbors and right next to each other, but I feel so comfortable and so close because of like everything, even just seeing people or people just being there and wanting to be here. It just has strengthened me and just built up my confidence, especially when there are the outside influences that can really get you down sometimes. But like I said, it's internally for me. So to have something that can help me through that was important. Like I've thought about the whole maybe therapy and stuff like that, and I'm sure that would be great, but this feels like that.
Yes, we have our therapy session every week. I do love that. I feel that too. There's so much unity here. And I think that idea that you said, I'm trying to remember, did you say you just felt like free? Is that what you said? Yeah. And I think, I don't know, do you feel like it's maybe moms, like this is a place where you belong? You know, we all belong here. We're supposed to be here together. And that unity, that what Amy said, our hearts have been woven together through this group. So we are connected in a very real and significant way. And we feel that. And that's meaningful. And the fact that Heavenly Father directed us here. Yeah, Lindsay, you're my people. Yeah. He directed us here. We came here because he helped us get here. So there's something really significant about that. I love it. I love it. Thanks, Cassie, for sharing. I appreciate you doing that because I know that's a little stretch for you. It's funny, you know, but we're going to, each of our strengths come out in this group, you know, and the beautiful things that we have to share, you know, we need to hear that. So I love that. Even if some of them are not very often, it doesn't matter. You know, it's very significant. And I love that there are those who always are putting things in the chat, and we have that also to glean from. So I love it. Okay, thanks, Mom. Thanks so much for being here. And Linnell, I really do want to be in your kitchen. I want to eat whatever it is that you're making.
Sure, I'd love to have you. Come join me.
So, oh, look at that. See, yummy, healthy. She was outside biking. Now she's, oh, yum, noodles. I love noodles so much. Okay. All right. There we go. I'm going to have to go downstairs and find something yummy to eat. Look at Cassie's pretty babies. All right, moms. We are going to go and we're going to have a fabulous weekend and a wonderful week. And we're going to know that throughout the whole week until Friday, we are connected. We're connected. And then if you want to join Tuesday for the conference talk chat thing, just make sure you let me know and or follow in any of the ways we talked about. So
Tuesday or Thursday?
I think I'm going to do Tuesday because doing Thursday, Friday is just too hard for me. So I think I'm going to go Tuesdays for the gospel scripture thing, and then obviously Fridays for here.
Good.
One last announcement, just so you know, I did get a message, a little voice message from Andrea Ray, the mom I told you about, the one that's in Abu Dhabi, and her son had that severe concussion. She said he's doing a lot better. He's definitely improving. He can't really concentrate on anything for very long. It gives him a really severe headache. He cannot use his elbows. They're still just so swollen and so painful. But she saw him he was in his room working on something the other day that I can't remember now what she said, but it's something that he enjoys. And she said he was struggling a bit, but he's starting to get better. And she feels like it's definitely in part due to the prayers. So you moms keep those prayers up for him. She's just such a sweet, good mom, and she will eventually come and chat with us. She'll be our guest speaker, but for now she's taking care of her baby. So her baby, 17-year-old baby boy. So time for Tuesday's chat. Ladies, what do you say? If I do an evening one next week, what do we say? What, Linnell, how many hours behind are you?
I'm 2 hours behind.
2, okay.
I'm Central.
Okay, Kate, is 9 o'clock too late for you? If it were 9 to 10 for you? So 6 o'clock my time? So let's say 6 o'clock Pacific time, and it'll be this same link. And the talk, Lindsay, do you have any of that in front of you to know what the talk is for the next? I didn't bring that up with me.
Not right in front of me, but I can look it up really fast.
Okay. So Lindsay will do that and let us know what the talk is. And like I said, you can join the Instagram for that. The Instagram, if you're on Instagram, that account is Mom Scholar. Wait, Scholar or Scholars? This is all new, sorry. Mom Scholars.
It's Pressing Forward the Mark by Edward Dubé. I don't know.
Pressing Forward the Mark?
Yeah. Pressing Toward the Mark.
Oh,
sorry,
toward.
I think I said that wrong.
Oh, okay, hold on. All right, so that's what we're doing next week on Tuesday, Pressing Toward the Mark. So read that talk, study it if you can. If you can, go through that Elder Bednar's talk that we shared on that account as well, because that is so great for helping us learn how to go through and pick out the good stuff out of the talks. I can't find it right now, but anyway, Elder Bednar, it was a BYU talk. Anybody remember the name of that one? That's not, I don't want my story.
I'm on your Instagram. Is it a reservoir of living water?
Yes, thank you. That is it. Thank you so much. Elder Bednar, it's such a good talk to help us learn how to pick out the good stuff and then figure out what we're going to do about it. And then also to highlight the blessings. What are the blessings that come from doing that thing? So, okay, moms, either next Tuesday or next Friday, we'll be able to get together again. And Lindsay Cardall, were you going to ask something? Oh, okay, we'll be able to get together again and share some more. So this has been wonderful. Thanks for hanging in. 2 hours is a long time, but I think it feeds our souls, and then we can go out and handle the next week. So go out and be successful moms, be influencers in all the good ways that means. Be a mother of influence to all those around you and have a wonderful time doing it. Bye, moms.